Hello, I am Nina Justa. I'm a Malaysian living in Amsterdam. Apa khabar semua? Saya Nina Justa. Saya berasal daripada Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, tetapi waktu ini saya menetap di Amsterdam. I work as a business resilience mentor. I help growing companies and its teams to overcome growing pains. I help them adapt and grow through business challenges using resources which are available to them. Basically, I help them become more resilient. Hari Ahad ini, saya akan menjadi tetamu istimewa di Warung Usahawan Malaysia. Kami akan membincang topik Bina Bisnes untuk bersaing di pasaran global. This Sunday, I will be a special guest at an online discussion event hosted by Warung Usahawan Malaysia, an entrepreneurs club founded by my dear friend Dr. Nurul Iyana. We will be discussing the topic, scaling up your business to compete at the international level. This is so exciting. I am looking so much forward to this event. If you know me already, you would know I have spent over 20 years working with various startups and scale-ups in business development and international expansion projects in over 40 countries around the world. This is why I look so much forward to sharing my experiences, the lessons I've learned, the mistakes I've made with fellow entrepreneurs in Malaysia. I look so much forward to answering all the questions in the best possible way I could, as well as understand specific business challenges which are faced by small growing companies in Malaysia in their attempts to grow beyond the home market. Come and join us this Sunday. Hari Ahad ini, 20 Mac, jam 8 malam di LinkedIn Live. We will be live on LinkedIn on Sunday at 8 p.m. Malaysian time, 2 p.m. Central European time. I really hope to see you there. Kita jumpa lagi di hari Ahad.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apa khabar semua? Saya harap semua berada dalam keadaan yang baik hari ini, hari Ahad. Dan sudah tentu besok adalah hari pertama untuk kita semua yang mempunyai anak untuk pergi ke sekolah. Dan saya tahu malam ni adalah malam yang ibu bapa tengah sibuk nak kemas dan sebagainya. Tetapi kita minta anda luangkan masa 1 jam untuk bersama saya dan rakan istimewa saya pada hari ini untuk membincangkan tajuk yang tidak asing lagi, Bina Bisnes dan bersaing di pasaran global. Menarik ya. Kenapa saya cakap begitu? Kerana tetamu kita pada hari ini orang jauh tetapi dekat di hati ya. Jadi sebelum kita mulakan sesi hari ini, saya just nak check out kawan-kawan yang ada hari ini. Wow, sangat gembira ramai kawan-kawan kita yang menyertai sesi Warung Usahawan pada kali ini. Dan untuk pengetahuan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, ini adalah merupakan sesi pertama untuk tahun 2022. Agak lambat tetapi masih belum terlewat untuk kita kongsikan topik-topik yang menarik untuk anda belajar sama-sama daripada sesi yang kita adakan hari ini. Tanpa membuang masa, saya just nak recap balik. Tahun ini Warung Usahawan agak berbeza daripada tahun lepas kerana sebenarnya Warung Usahawan sudah masuk tahun kedua di mana kita menyediakan artikel-artikel pendek untuk dikongsi bersama usahawan. Dan tahun ini juga saya nak memberi fokus kepada bagaimana mengembangkan minda supaya perniagaan kita lebih berdaya saing dan boleh bersaing di pasaran global. Jadi kita mulakan tahun ini dengan Big Bang di mana kita mengajak Resilient Coach Nina Justin untuk bersama kita. Nina Justin merupakan resilient coach dan beliau juga adalah penulis buku. Saya minta dia yang kenalkan lebih lanjut lagi mengenai diri beliau supaya rasanya bila kita dengar daripada tuan punya diri, kita rasa lebih tertarik untuk mendengar tajuk pada hari ini. Tanpa membuang masa, saya ingin menjemput Nina Justin ke pentas Warung Usahawan. Hai Nina.
Hi Nurul.
Wow, okay.
So
Interesting.
nice to see you.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum semua, salam sejahtera. Do we have many people with us today? I don't know.
Oh my god, hari ni kita ada rakan-rakan Adrina. Ini Madam Thermomix kita jualan meletup-letup ya. Okay. Kita ada Miss Tila Supia. Hai Tila.
Hi Tila.
Tila ni kita punya
Hi,
HR
Adrina.
expert. Ya, okey. Hairi Rosli. Hairi ni kawan baru saya dan nanti kita nak jemput dia juga ke Warung Usahawan. Beliau adalah usahawan, ya?
Okay.
Okey, next one adalah Sean.
Hi Sean.
Sean ni very interesting guy. Siapa yang mungkin ada pekerja yang memerlukan orang kata bantuan ada perumahan ke apa ke, tapi Sean ni ada menyediakan perkhidmatan lah. Jadi saya minta siapa yang belum connect dengan Sean sila berbuat demikian ya. Alright, Adrina, hi. Tila, hi. Okay. Masya Allah, Allah bless, thanks for connecting. Okay. Tevi, hi Tevi. Oh, saya sangat happy hari ni. Sahabat saya daripada CGC, Edward Yukim menyertai kita juga Nina.
Okay. Is Edward also Malaysian?
Edward is a Malaysian and
Nice.
also a charming guy ya. Okay, hi Zef pun menyertai kita hari ni. Hi Zef.
Hi Zef.
Alright,
Zef
ramainya.
is tuning in all the way from the US. Zef,
Wow.
it's very early where you are, so thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay, kita ada juga V Azmi. Hi V dari Brunei. Oh, thank you for joining us V. Alright. Okay. Jadi, tanpa melengahkan masa hari ni, saya nak minta Nina perkenalkan diri kepada sahabat-sahabat kita yang menyertai kita pada malam ini.
Okay, so first and foremost, terima kasih Dr. Nurul kerana menjemput saya di majlis perbincangan hari ini. Saya begitu bangga dan berbesar hati kerana ada opportunity ni. Dan saya minta maaf terlebih dahulu kerana bahasa Malaysia saya ni tak up to date. Sebab saya dah tinggal di luar negara lebih daripada 30 dekad. So you can do the maths. I am 100 years old. No, I'm just joking. So just a little bit of background information about me. I am now working as a business resilience mentor. But I started my journey back in 1999 in London, where I left my corporate job in finance and legal to pursue what I thought was the most interesting thing that was happening at the time, to pursue a career in a startup. So I have been in this scene since then. It's been over 20 years and I'm still here. So I am as old as the word startup. I have been working with startups and scale-ups in many different countries as a founder, as an advisor, as an investor, and also now as a mentor. So I'm very pleased to be here today to be able to share whatever that would be helpful, and also to have a little bit of fun, learning, and also discussing with fellow entrepreneurs in Malaysia about their journey in scaling up the business on the international level. So it will be a bit rojak because I campur-campur perkataan English dengan Melayu, okay?
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay,
Kita memang nak sesuatu yang natural daripada Nina. Okay,
thank
that's
you.
great. Nina, interesting. Bila kita cakap nak ajak Nina untuk join sesi yang pertama tahun ni, ramai orang tanya apa tu maksud resilience. Tetapi sebelum kita start tanya Nina lebih banyak soalan ni, saya nak kongsi dengan Nina. Recently, I've done a poll and the poll is quite interesting. I think I want to share with you and also the rest and some comments that I had from kawan-kawan yang menyertai survey kita tu lah. Alright,
Okay.
so bagi saya masa untuk saya tunjukkan kepada Nina dan rakan-rakan.
You call me a saint, but you know I'm a stranger, unwilling and unable to do what you want. You think I'm a thinker, but I'm just a singer, all messy and pretty, just making believe. Boy, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling down to obscurity. Don't let me ever be this alone. I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. Shouldn't be trusting me, I could be making it all up, you know.
Okay, Nina. Interesting. Kita
Yes.
tanya kenapa orang give up too early sometimes. Itu je soalan dia. Tapi interesting. Ada banyak feedback dari rakan-rakan kita tadi. Nina pun boleh tengok kan antaranya tidak yakin dengan diri sendiri, rasa macam mudah tak percaya pada apa yang mereka lakukan dan sebagainya. Jadi sebagai seorang resilient coach, boleh Nina kupas sikit tak apa sebenarnya masalah orang cepat give up ni?
If I understand it correctly, jawapan daripada poll tu mostly ramai orang takut gagal. Fear
Betul.
of failure, right? Now, Nurul, you are working with entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur yourself. I have been on the entrepreneurial scene for so long. I can tell you there is not one person I have met, even the successful ones, yang tak ada takut gagal. Everybody is fearful of failure. But what you do with the fear is another thing. Some people stop doing what they want to do because they are fearful of the failure. Some people use the failure to drive, the fear to drive them forward by breaking it into smaller pieces that they think they can manage at a time. Right? So it's a question of how you deal with your fear. It's not like you will ever live your life without fear. I don't know anyone who lives their life without fear. If you do, please give that person my number because I nak belajar sikit to be more resilient to that extent that I don't fear anything or anyone. So I think to go back to the essence, kalau kita nak jadi usahawan, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to learn to live with this, right? Entrepreneurialism carry a lot of risk, but it also carries a lot of rewards. Kalau tidak, we won't be here today. And many of us won't change the world because you need the warriors, you need them to change the world. And if you are an entrepreneur, by definition, you have that warrior drive and warrior spirit. You want to go for what you believe in and you want to continue doing what you think will help other people, right? And also, all progress happens beyond your comfort zone. Every growth is outside your comfort zone. So live with that fear. How do you live with that fear? Now, I think most people who are now here with us, they are already far in the game, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to Warung Usahawan. So I think you are already there in the game. It starts here in your mind. And I think what you do, knowing that you will always have the possibility of failure, is first of all, prepare yourself for success, right? You need to prepare yourself for success and you need to reframe the definition of failure. What is failure? So tadi I baca dalam jawapan poll tu. Actually, I think in one of the comments, one person said, I takut orang nanti kata apa. You know, I'm worried what other people will say about me. Wow. You know, I have had a lot of people said a lot of things about me. But I think what I always tell myself, the biggest failure I could be is if I don't do anything. So those who actually say to other people, this, that lah, macam-macam, you know, most of the time, they are the one who does nothing, right? Who do nothing. So you don't need to worry about them. And I think failure is unpleasant, it's uncomfortable. It's like having a baby, kan? Huh? When you want to have a baby, it's you know, especially if it's your first baby and the second, the third, the fourth, like it becomes even much more complex. But it's one of the most enriching experiences you can have in your life. So it's up to you what you choose. Is how you view how important it is to go for your dreams. Other people cannot make it for you. You have to make it for yourself. So you don't have to care too much about what other people will say, as long as you are putting in the effort. Because the only loser is the one who gives up, and the only loser is the one who don't do anything. So you cannot lose. You cannot lose.
Okay, I suka juga komen daripada Zef, and pay attention to the choice of word that we use. So maksudnya, if we talk about negative thing, it will also attract negativity. And if you talk about positive thing about yourself, then you actually attract the positivity. So benda ni betul. Zef, I really like what you're sharing. Zef cakap mindset penting, and I think I spoke to Nina tadi. Actually, I got this book, The Things You Can See Only When You Slow Down, and interestingly, some people can't see things clearly atau tak nampak benda dengan jelas ada kerana mindset dia tidak jelas. Maksudnya minda dia sendiri tak berada dalam satu situasi yang tenang. Jadi semua benda yang datang, pelbagai cabaran yang datang tu semua jadi macam tak ada jalan keluar. So I would suggest, if you guys have time to get this book, please get this book, because banyak sangat konten dalam ni yang talk about mindset, talk about how you let go negative things that people do for you. Some people wrong you for no reason. For some people, dia salahkan you sebab ada reason dia sendiri. Jadi tak apa, jangan nak sedih-sedih, jangan suka nangis. Jadi dapatkan buku ni dan baca. It talks about mindset and also spirituality. I suka sangat buku ni. Okay, jadi I suka Adrina punya komen. Adrina cakap agree, we continue to push ourselves if we want to succeed. And I suka sangat Adrina ni, seorang yang sangat energetic, and I've been following her TikTok also. If you guys have time to follow her, please do so. Recently, dia ada appear dalam sesi LinkedIn Live bersama dengan Rizal. And kalau you guys belum ada opportunity untuk jumpa Adrina ni secara live, tengok balik LinkedIn Live tu. Interesting. Okay, I suka Zef. Correct Dr. Nurul about the choice of words. Yeah, Zef, I pun suka apa yang you cakap. Also important to be hang out with warriors and not ones who will corrupt or will mindset. Betul. Betul, I agree. Okay, so sekarang
Actually, I have one thing. Kejap, Dr. Nurul.
Okay,
Another thing,
silakan.
fear is not that bad, actually. I mean, it's just we need to use it in the right way. Because fear is also part of our survival instinct, right? To answer to go with the comment I made earlier about what I read in the comment box, like what will people say? I think this is, in my experience, it is very, very much a cultural thing too. We are very afraid of nanti nampak over or nampak orang kata kita ni macam tak apa tu, macam, you know, like you are not responsible. You are not doing the right things. The thing is, fear is there to protect us from harm. So it's fine. And starting a business is not harmful. You know, it may be uncomfortable, but it's not harmful. So that is like the first starting point, I think.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Thank you so much. Anyway, kalau ada kawan-kawan kita yang sertai kita pada malam ni, ada apa-apa question, you can just post dulu dekat komen, nanti kita pick up. Tapi I ada questions yang I dah prepare nak tanya dekat Nina ni. Alright, Bina, soalan pertama, apakah persediaan yang perlu ada untuk bersaing di pasaran global? Jadi sebab Nina ni dah 30 tahun berada di luar negara, pengalaman-pengalaman yang dikutip itu mungkin boleh dikongsikan dengan rakan-rakan kita di yang join kita daripada Brunei, yang join kita daripada US dan juga daripada Malaysia.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna backtrack to preparing yourself for success, right? So apa yang you nak prepare atau nak perlukan sebelum you make a decision to go international or to bring or offer your product outside your home market? I would like to first of all think one of the main important consideration is what is international. I think international simply means that you are offering your product or your service to an audience outside your own home market. And often when we say this, we imagine in our head, this is such a big thing we have to do. We have to build something from scratch. And, we've already done a lot of work to our own business. And now we have to duplicate that to go beyond. I think, first of all, to go international and to make your product accessible for other people outside your home market could be as simple as just adding several languages to your website, and making sure that your content is professional, or it's relevant, it's valuable to more than just one type of audience, which is like your own home market, but it could be, human beings are very similar. Our needs are very similar. So it doesn't have to be rocket science. You don't need to decide when you want to go international that you have to be bombastic. You can start small. So the first preparation I would do normally with my clients and the companies that I've worked with also for my own company is to look at where I am today. Kat mana kamu berada di sini sekarang, masa ini, hari ini. So you think about what you have, what are the strengths that you already have, and what can you build on top of that. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. And then the second advice I would give is keep it simple and straightforward. A lot of the times, most people overcomplicate, overthink processes, or even in their own minds, their ideas. Keep it simple. Stick to what you're good at. Start there. So that's the first one. If Nurul wants to say something right now, please, or if we have any question, then I can elaborate a little bit more.
Okay, quite interesting. I suka when you talk about two things just now. You talk about lihat di mana anda sekarang so that you know from which point, katalah you dekat point A, you nak pergi point B. So you very clear. Where are you now and where are you heading to? And the second thing you cakap about make it simple. So selalu kan, bila kita bercakap tentang nak pergi ke pasaran global ni, apa yang berada dalam fikiran, even masa mula-mula I was basically assigned to work with SMEs. What comes in my mind masa tu ialah, dia kena ada strategi ekspor yang betul-betul hebat baru kata dia dah ready. Tetapi bila pandemic hit kita, ataupun bila all this COVID and is actually restrict kita punya movement, dan semua orang kena pergi fully digital, I nampak ada banyak peluang. Maksudnya simple dengan berada di atas talian, somehow rather people able to know what are you offering. Even basically you tak offer pun dekat overseas market, but they start reading about you and they engage with you via the digitalizations lah, maksudnya via online. Jadi I suka macam you cakap make it simple. Mungkin you boleh bagi satu simple example yang probably boleh relate dengan keadaan sekarang.
Okay. To give an example which I hope most people can relate to or easy to understand is, for example, you tak ada produk. you are offering services. For most people, this is like, oh, I don't have a product. I have services. How do I go international if I have services? Now look around you. You have law firms, legal firms, right? Some of them are international. They could be ASEAN-based or bigger firms. So obviously, don't compare yourself to the big people, the big companies, but see the ideas that they have. How did they do it? So local knowledge is important. So legal firms normally, when they want to expand, they don't just go into the market. Most of the time, they actually forge a collaboration with another legal firm already existing in that market, right? So then together, they develop a concrete offering, which is a combination of one firm and the other firm. They build the bridges, and then they go back to the market as an international firm offering, let's say if you're Indonesian, with Malaysian, then we cover both markets. And then they start to build on that block, the different blocks that they have, either complementary skills and services or even develop new expertise, because then they can support each other, right? You kind of like leverage one strength against the other. So you can easily do that if you have other services too. And imagine if your service is only relying on you localizing your service into another language. Let's say if you have, this is just my idea, okay? I don't have an example for this, but for example, you're teaching English. So English is the language that you are trying to promote. So you have your knowledge, you have your skills, you have your methodology, and then you want to, as a Malaysian company, training people to speak in English, then you want to expand to Thailand, so to speak. You don't need to actually build a company in Thailand. You can do it online. All you do need is someone who understands the Thai market, who can actually put another page in Thai and then promote either on social networks or on other platforms for marketing your services, because then you have already the opportunity to expand and you can actually start marketing yourself as a bigger company. And when you come out bigger, you also attract bigger opportunities. So everything is like what you said, it's in your mind. What you send out, you attract. If you behave small, you also attract small. So you need to be a little bit more, let's say, not to be arrogant, but to be confident that you can do it. And you don't always have to go big, right? Having local knowledge, and this can be built through having local partner in the market that you want to expand. Or the second problem is always cash, right? You always think, oh, I don't have the money. How can I go abroad? So there are different strategies that you can explore when you don't have the cash or you don't have a lot of cash.
Wow.
I don't know if I should like drag along and bercakap banyak, so please break.
Yeah. I suka you tengok I just post this comment from Manisa. If Manisa and Nina has not been connected, just to introduce, Manisa is actually a brand expert. So very, very interesting individual that has helped one of our we call it unicorn to actually grow their brand at one point of time. And I suka Manisa dia cakap we must deliver our brand promise so people can't question us. So maksudnya to relate to your example just now, right? You're talking about collaborations. So most of the time when we go back, kita akan tengok, okay, kalau kita tak ada strong brand, then people will question, kenapa I perlu collaborate dengan you? So if you don't build a very good brand, it will also cause you to have a difficulties to make a collaboration outside of the country, for example. So I want to hear your comment, Nina, if you have any on this.
Okay. Of course, this topic is a very broad topic, and I'm trying to narrow it down to like what would be beneficial for small, medium companies. So branding is a very big issue because brand actually reflects the value that you deliver, reflects your work ethic. Like some people, you just mentioned the brand you trust, they're going to give you something good, right? So this is what you do in your own home market. When you start your business, you invest a lot in delivering what you say you're going to deliver with professionalism, with highest quality, and also always deliver value. It's the same when you want to go abroad. You ask, why would my customers need me, right? Why would they need me? So it's the same as what you do in your own country. But of course, expansion strategy is a different kind of strategy depending on, one, do you have the cash you need and do you want to go big, or do you want to start small? Because when you are a small company, and I have worked with many small startups that actually wanted to expand, you have to start small. You have to think about what resources do you have, because you can't waste your resources, right? Even the team you have, it's not a big team. So that's why I always say, go back to where you are. Start where you are. What are your strengths? What can you build on? What works? Replicate that, right? And then you go back out and look at the whole picture, the brand, the objectives, the values, the processes, the teams. And if you really are serious about taking that leap, pay attention to the core. Like, there are many parts, but they're all moving parts, yeah? So you need to connect them and you have to make sure that they are stabilized. The main ones, like the team has to be stable. If you have a team that is like, huru-hara or not very stable, unhappy, and so on, this is going to be difficult if you want to go abroad. It's difficult even if you don't want to go abroad, but it's harder. Then you need to think about your local knowledge in that market also. So that's really important. But this you can solve with having an agent, having a distributor, having a strategic collaborative partner. There are so many different ways of doing it. You can license your product out. So this is an example from agricultural companies. In Malaysia, there are many companies that produce like canned mango or canned coconut milk and so on. And when they want to go out of Malaysian market, which is actually quite easy because the demand is quite big, they don't think about building their brand. Because if you're a Malaysian brand, they know you in Malaysia, that's enough. But when you go abroad, why would you invest in building a brand when you can just sell it as a white label solution for supermarkets in any country, their own brand, or other local players to put their own brand? Because for you, there is no return on investment if you actually market your brand, unless that is what you want to do. It's a question of strategic, choice. But if you are a small company, I would not go there because marketing is a big undertaking and branding is a big undertaking, and you need a lot of expertise to communicate what you stand for. But if you want to do things, very well with limited resources, you can explore different ways of expanding. Even, as I say, as simple as localizing your internet web page to several different languages so that your offer is available to other people in other markets. If your product is versatile, that is.
Wow, Nina, it's another perspective that I really like when I listen to you. Maksudnya, if you want to go abroad, coming back to the strategy that you're looking at, especially when you talk about marketing, because if you have big budget, probably you want to, really invest in the branding part. But kalau you just a small entity and you have limited resources, then probably you look at other alternative as what you mentioned. I really like that. Okay, I have another question sebab I think this will put more meat to the discussion. Soalan kedua, bagaimana menganalisa persediaan perniagaan untuk bersaing ke pasaran luar?
How do you know if you're ready?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? First of all, you are as ready as you can be if your business is already running well. Your first business. And the second one is if you are mentally ready for it. There is never the perfect moment, right? Never the perfect moment. So you just need to make a decision and then you have to prepare yourself for what comes. So normally when you go abroad, there are only in any business, there are only two points. Do I have enough clients? Do I have enough cash? Right? For small companies, that is, and also big companies. But big companies tend to have deeper pockets. And if you have investors, you are expected to be a scalable company. Very rarely investors will put money into a small, medium company unless you are scalable, right? That's another ball game. That's a different story. So when you have investors, then you can always make a plan how you're going to recover the investment when you expand. But it's the same when you don't have investors, right? If you don't have a lot of money, you still have to prepare yourself if you can take or absorb a period where you are still building the business without actually making money beyond what you need, making profit. Now, hopefully you will break even and you will cover your costs, but you have to prepare. And this is why people are fearful about businesses, because dia takut nanti rugi, takut tak dapat duit, takut bankrupt, right? But of course, you don't do this by just jumping into the deepest end. You do need to prepare yourself for success. And I think, how do you know that you are successful enough to go forward to a new market? Is if you have a stable team, stable management team, a clear direction where you want to be in 1 year. And 3, if you think going into a new market is part of your long-term vision. 4, if your product is good enough. And 5, if your team is stable. So you need a lot of people to support you. As an entrepreneur, you can't do it all. You need your tribe. So being a good leader, being a good self-leader is also very important. So I would start there. I would start by looking at the core of your business. Have I answered your question, Nurul?
Yes, because the questions back to you sama ada you dah bersedia atau tidak. People can tell you that you are not ready, but if you feel that you are ready, again, going back to the team and the strategy that you have, probably you are ready. But the question is always feel. So macam you cakap tadi kan, coming back to the person, whether you ready ke you tak ready. Yang ni I memang suka sebab I pernah tengok orang buat business from day one. Dia in Malaysia, they never have a customers local. From the day one, they operate the business memang dah pergi international. So when they approach us, masa I dekat Institut Kesawanan Negara last time, they wanted to tap into local market. Imagine dia punya HQ is in Malaysia. Tetapi dia cakap dengan I daripada day one sampai a few years, they already establish a very good brand and they have supply the products everywhere globally. Tetapi now they want to see how they can penetrate into local market. Kelakar pula ni terbalik tau.
And what would be their main problem then when that happens?
Because from the day one, they are actually doing medical supply.
Okay.
So medical supply was really good demand from European country and etc. So when they want to penetrate into Malaysian market, the challenge that they have is basically not really on regulations. Always is about getting to know who should I contact in order for me to penetrate the market. And as we know, penetrating into sort of like regulated activities, especially a medical supply, is not as easy as what we thought. So
local knowledge is important. Local knowledge, because everything has a different dynamic, and also network. In Malaysia, I think some businesses will do better when they are already with a strong existing network. It's the kind of market that it is. Of course, I'm generalizing right now, but in many Asian countries, I have worked also in the Middle East, where it's also very much a network or relationship-based business. I would. And another thing that is really important. What is part of your preparation? Your preparation is also a mental preparation. It's not just a business preparation. It's not just making sure you have the right people in your team. It's beyond that. It's also a mental preparation. And you know what I have learned in my many years of working in this area? What differentiates the winners from the ones who actually took much longer to get there, is the level of patience. You know, you need patience. So that's why I said a part of the preparation what you have to do is to calculate the possibility of you not going to recover your investment immediately, and how far can you go? You know, how far can you actually run your business if you don't make money? So obviously the first thing I would do as a small business is make sure you have a client on the other side. Make sure you set up your sales agent. Make sure that you are covering all the different strategies and the different avenues for you to create interest so that there will be a demand for your product. You cannot go into a market when there is no demand for your product, right? And make sure that you also know that your price will be set right for that market, because when you do different markets, prices for product is totally different. So because the value of that product is totally different. So you do need to keep it simple. So look first, hey, do I know someone there? Is there anyone who could, validate my product if it is going to work? And then, the first thing, if you have enough money, is to pay somebody like an agent or distributor, or not. You can also have a local partner where you can offer complementary products. Like I have worked before with a company in Germany which produces software, and their main markets were Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, because the products were only in German. And they did offer their products to other markets, as long as the partners would pay for the localization of the product and then pay them the royalty in advance, because that's not their core business. Their core business is in Germany, Austria, or core markets, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Therefore, the secondary market is just extra revenue for them. So you can do the same. Like if you have a product that's available in Malay, and then you think, hey, maybe someone in Thailand or Vietnam would benefit from this, rather than creating the product. As this is more relevant for IT products, where you can easily code very easily and localize the components. Then they can pay you an advance royalty payment, and you get second revenue stream without you actually even caring that much about that market, because you don't want to go into that market. But it still makes you an international player, because your product is available outside your own home market, right? So as I started, I said, well, it really depends what you mean by international market. There are different levels of a playing field. How big, you want to play in the big league, you have to play the long-term game. If you want to play small and you want to make it simple, you want to make it fun, you want to make it, it's a personal, enriching experience, you can choose that. We don't all have to be mega stressed and big Google companies, And I also believe that success breeds success. And once you get somewhere and you start building your business and build your network around it, you might even get other opportunities, and you keep growing. You will just move from there. And many companies achieve where they are today, arrive at this point of mega success, because they went with that flow, right? So just go with the flow and keep doing.
Okay, I like what V Azmi is stating here. Dia cakap pasal business environment is currently volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous. A common lesson from every crisis, irrespective of its timeline. Therefore, it's important to have solid vision and business continuity plan. Great. I like this. Another comment.
Thank you for that comment. It's all about having the resilience.
Yeah. Okay. Edward cakap, branding reflect our level of commitment. I need to play this for Zaf punya comment. Dia cakap that the keyword engage and ramai tak faham how to do it. Ini kita kena connect diorang to popcorn. So they will learn how to engage and reflect whatever, engagement that they should do with the customers. Okay, be agile. Sean Chew kata be agile. Okay, I have another questions to you, Nina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nanti
Ada soalan nombor 3.
Soalan nombor 3 ialah, okey, sekejap ya, ni betulkan distinct, tak nak cross. Soalan nombor 3, okey. Strategi dan kemahiran perniagaan bagaimana anda perlukan? Ini kita boleh tanya a bit broad, tapi mungkin Nina boleh just zoom into how it works for a small business lah.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of an example, a strategy. And kemahiran perniagaan is skills, right?
Skills.
Business
Correct.
skills.
Hmm.
Okay. The strategy for going abroad. I think I've said it before, it really depends what you would like to achieve. I think first of all, you need to probably also decide, is this going to be your long-term thing? Is that what you always wanted to do, right? Have you already covered all your business opportunities in your own home country? Sometimes some companies need the secondary, they need to expand because they play the numbers game. With the numbers game, you also grow your problems, yes? With cash, like most people think that cash can solve their problems if they want to go abroad. Cash is an amplifier. So it creates also another problem. It is not the end of the problem when you decide to go abroad. There will be new problems. Are you equipped to deal with that? And is it solvable only with having investment? Or, you can also be out of your own depth if you are not prepared for that. So as I said earlier, I would take the strategy of start where you are. Keep it simple and straightforward. Look at the big picture and look at the core components of your business and if they have been stabilized. And then continue to create value for your customers. I mean, if you're just doing it, but you're not creating value, there are also companies that or with founders who just want to go abroad because that is what they think would make them feel good about themselves. And that's entirely up to them. But it doesn't necessarily make their business more profitable, and it doesn't necessarily make sense. I don't know if I'm answering the question properly because it's a very broad question and I don't know it all. So I'm just sharing my experiences. Yes. Nurul, you're mute.
I really like what you share because at the end of the day, the strategy fall back to what you think best for your business. So maksudnya as a consultant or as advisor or probably as a coach, you may help them to show them where to go or probably help them to see various angles. And the big call is supposed to be done by the business owner. So benda-benda macam ni kan common. Sometimes it is not always easy things to do. Sebab I pun tengok banyak business yang sometimes bila tanya dia, how long you have done this business, dia cakap sebenarnya dah berbelas tahun, cuma after for the past 3 years je the business start making money. Or probably dia dah try banyak business and they find out, oh, this is the most profitable business dia pernah buat selama beberapa tahun daripada day one dia buat business. So all this definitely learning from mistake. And no one can tell you the right thing to do until you experience. I suka because Nina, you cakap something yang very practical. Books can tell you step A sampai Z. Tetapi as an entrepreneur, you might also have your own path that at the end of the day, you sampai juga ke, sasaran atau your goal, but in different way. Nina mungkin ikut jalan A, I mungkin ikut jalan B, mungkin Edward ikut jalan C. So all this is coming in different ways lah. Tapi tak semestinya salah. Okay Nina, ini interesting. Bila kita cakap tadi, I think one of the topic that you also touch is building the team. And Interestingly, especially startups kan, ini benda yang common. Mula-mula
Yeah.
seronok nak buat, tak
Yeah.
sampai setahun tiba-tiba, bisnes baru nak jadi ni, tiba-tiba okay, I want my share. Okay, sampai di sini je hubungan kita, I nak buat bisnes lain. So how do we manage the team punya dynamic in this regards, Nina?
It's a very common situation in many startups. That's why I said, while we have the holistic picture of the values, the brand, objectives, the processes, the markets, the products, and so on, it goes back always to the leadership and the team. You need to stabilize this even before you do anything. Otherwise, you will not be able to deliver, and you will burn the investment that is already made in your company at home, and if you invest more, abroad. So what I often focus on is not to waste resources, right? And not to complicate. So complication is always a waste of resources. Energy, drama, complexity, banyak gaduh-gaduh, and everybody wants to come out, and this is why many startups fail, because they're not there for the right reason, right? How do you stabilize your team? This is really, for many startups, you have to be lucky, right? For co-founders, for example, founder and co-founders, they're like two people, or if there are three people marriage, and you always have the dynamics between people. And I remember just talking to somebody earlier this week about the idea of recombination. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's, like in the DNA of a person, like you and your sister and your siblings all come from the same parents, and you probably have been given the same values, and you were going for the same goals in life. Semua nak jadi pandai and successful and kaya and all this stuff. But you will all face different challenges and will have to build your, let's say, skill set differently. Yeah? Somebody's better at this, somebody's better at that. And this thing is what in genetic sequence, in the science of genetic, it's called recombination. So in a company, you have the same. You can be doing business software, and another company is doing the same software. But the teams, the people that are managing the team, the leaders, the managers, everyone's involved, they are all different. So you have a recombination challenges. So it's very important when you want to go forward is to understand these elements. That if you are dua orang co-founder, how are you? What is important for both of you? If you decide to go abroad, both of you must be on the same page, right? And if you depend on your team, you actually must make them realize they are so important in this plan. Very often when you have startups, it's very chaotic and communication isn't always the best. Everybody's stressed, everyone's pushed to the limit. You get, very interesting situations. But the team is super important in order to make sure that you will survive different phases, because it's never going to be the same day, 2 days in a row. And how do you stabilize the team? As I said, one is a question of recombination. It's always how you are all communicating with each other, and also being aware of that. And I think this is also part of my work normally when I mentor a team, is to make sure that each of them understand where they are, what they need, how they contribute to both successes and problems. And if they have a situation where they don't like what is going on, especially when your team is still very small, you need to take that fire out immediately. Because if you are in the second phase, when you're scaling up, there's more money at stake, there's more, more stress, and you have clients to serve, deadlines, and so on. This could sometimes break the company, and this is why many startups fail. Yeah.
Okay, I tengok komen daripada V Azmi, very good comment. Synergy between leadership and management, including stakeholders. Do you want to comment on that, Nina?
Stakeholders here could be investors that put a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure on founders, generally speaking, to deliver. Teams, depending on their level of maturity as well. If you have a lot of young people, they're very impatient and they're very hungry and thirsty. And that's why some of them like, oh, I'm going to go and work somewhere else where they're going to give me more money. You can have that situation. And also you can have just life situation. I have had myself a company before. We actually built a company to go abroad. So we went to that level, and then my product guy actually quit because his girlfriend was pregnant and he had to go home. And when you have to run a company with no product guy, that's quite tough. So you do need to understand where everyone is in their lives. And I think it's very difficult to guarantee stability, but it's doable. It's a lot of people go through these phases, and I think it's for the warriors. You have to decide if this is what you want to do, and you're gonna go through the hard times so that you will be rewarded when you get there.
Wow. I truly understand this because when we talk about building team, it is not a one day kind of thing. Dia memang perlu a lot of efforts because macam you cakap, even building a team is like you get married somebody and trying to understand the do and don'ts in the relationship. And definitely bila kita cakap orang muda, lagilah they are very hungry. I totally agree dengan you. Basically menjadi usahawan ni is a journey. Sometimes it could be it definitely is going to be a rewarding journey. Tetapi along the way, there's a lot ups and downs that you have to face together with your team. Okay, with that, Nina, kita dah sampai di hujung sesi. Dan saya sangat berterima kasih kepada rakan-rakan kita yang bersama-sama kita tadi. Ada 16 orang menyertai kita di LinkedIn hari ini. Dan saya nak ucapkan terima kasih kepada Zef yang pagi-pagi dekat sana pagi kan Nina?
Yes, terima kasih Zef. All the way from the US.
Ya, kita ada V yang daripada Brunei yang participate daripada awal sampai ke akhir dan bagi kita banyak cadangan juga. Dan rakan-rakan yang lain, Tila, Vivian dan Edward juga. Kalau saya tak sempat nak sebut semua, saya minta maaf. Kita ada 2 orang menyertai kita daripada Facebook. Mungkin mereka tak timbulkan diri dan komen. So I couldn't see them. But it's okay. I'm so happy dan berharap sesiapa yang menyertai sesi pada hari ini, jangan lupa connect to Nina. Beliau seorang yang sangat berpengalaman membantu banyak syarikat pemula ataupun startups, dan perkongsian beliau pada hari ini adalah satu perkongsian yang jarang-jarang kita dengar daripada perspektif luar. So Nina, I just want to be very sincere with you. The things that you are sharing today is something that open up the minds. Yeah, I rasa I jarang dengar all this kind of thing because too much listening to local, but sometimes you forgot what happening outside in terms of content, in terms of knowledge, new knowledge and things like that. And I'm so happy. Nina, ada kata-kata terakhir sebelum kita tutup sesi hari ini?
Terima kasih menjemput I sekali lagi. And terima kasih for everybody who's listening in and writing your comments, asking questions. I hope I have been useful and helpful. And if I have not, take the good stuff, and you don't need to to accept everything as a fact because that's just my experience. And I think as an entrepreneur, we are all adventurous people, so we can create our own experience as long as we're clear about our goals. And one last thing, if you want to go abroad, do your homework and then trust, make that jump and trust that the net will appear. Okay?
Wow.
That's all I can say.
Amazing.
Okay.
And jangan lupa dapatkan buku yang I share tadi. Alright? It's very interesting. Nina pun ada this book and she has another version yang I belum baca. So guys, watch,
It's a very calming
cari
book.
bukunya. Alright. Okay,
Alright.
with that,
Good
bye.
night. Thank you.
Bye.
Terima kasih.